I'm Kristen McMaster, and I'm from the University of Minnesota. I'm on the special education faculty there, but I'm also a tour guide here at Crystal Cave. And today I'm going to be telling you about Module 6 and also about the end-of-year product that you'll be completing over the summer. Now, you might be wondering why on earth I'm talking about Module 6 down here in a cave. In just a little bit, I'll explain why that's very relevant to Module 6. Well, it's sort of relevant. Okay, it's just really cool down here. But enough about the cave for now. We'll get back to that in just a moment. I'd like to just briefly review some of the things that you've been learning over the past year. So you've been learning a lot about intensive intervention, what it is, who it's for, why it's important, different ways, different approaches to intensifying intervention and evaluating intensification, different ways that researchers have thought about their research as they've gone about studying intervention. And I expect you'll continue to learn from the experts as you continue through your program. But at the same time, our hope is that you'll start generating new knowledge about intensive intervention by doing your own research, your own studies. So another thing that I hope you've learned this year in your doctoral programs is that when you begin to study something, one of the first steps you should take is to try to define it in operational terms. That is, to define it in such a way that it's observable and measurable. And to be observable and measurable, it really helps to think about and identify the key features that must be in place for that phenomenon to occur. And so those key features can help us know what is and what is not a part of that phenomenon. And once you've done that, it's a lot easier to be precise and robust in your study and your research of that particular phenomenon. So I'm going to use the cave to illustrate what I mean by key features. So I mentioned that we're in a cave, but how do we really know that I'm actually in a cave and not just some random hole in the ground? Well, there actually are three key features of a cave that make a cave and not just a hole in the ground. So I'll talk about those. The first key feature is that a cave must be naturally formed. We actually know that Crystal Cave is naturally formed, so over the last million years or so, as rainwater and snowmelt went into the earth above us, it seeped into the soil and mixed with carbon dioxide, forming a weak acid called carbonic acid. And that carbonic acid would make its way through the cracks and the crevices in the rock, and this is a soft limestone rock, so it would slowly dissolve that rock away, leaving a void or a chamber like the one that I'm standing in. And so it's kind of cool to think that where I'm standing right now used to be solid rock. Now, it would be possible to unnaturally, or for a human to develop an underground chamber like this one by blasting or by chipping away the rock and such, but then we wouldn't call it a cave, we'd call it a mine. But Crystal Cave was naturally formed, so we know that that first key feature is in place. The second key feature is that a person needs to be able to fit inside the cave. And we could get picky and talk about how we define the person and what size, but we won't go there right now. Suffice it to say, for this example, I'm a person, I'm standing in this space, I fit very comfortably, so that second key feature is in place. If that wasn't in place, if I couldn't fit in this space in the rock, it would probably just be a crack in the rock or a crevice. And then the third key feature of a cave, this is my favorite one. So to be a cave, it's important that we're able to achieve total darkness. And I know you want to see that, so we're going to get the lights here in just a minute. Takes a while to achieve total darkness. We're almost there. And total darkness in 3, 2, 1. And yes, It is dark in here. It's so dark, if I put my hand in front of my face and wiggle my fingers around, I can't see them. And if I were to stand down here for days and days and days, my eyes would never adjust to the light. I would never be able to see in the dark down here. And really there's actually only 2 places on Earth where you can naturally achieve total darkness, in a cave like this one, or at the very bottom of the ocean. So it's pretty cool that we can do that here in Crystal Cave. Now, if we were not able to achieve total darkness, this would not be a cave. This might be an open air pit or a rock shelter, but we couldn't call it a cave. All right, let's get the lights back on then. All right, so now we know that our cave meets those 3 key features, but you're kind of probably wondering when I'm going to get back to Module 6. So let's talk about Module 6 now. So Module 6 is going to be a little bit different from the first 5 modules. There aren't additional readings for you to do. There aren't more videos unless you want to watch this one over and over again. But what you are going to do is get into a small group, and you'll be placed in groups of 3 to 4 students. And what we'd like you to do is spend some time going back and reviewing what you've learned over the past year. So go back to the different modules, look at the readings, look at the videos, go back and review the discussions that you've had on Moodle, and think about what the key features are of intensive intervention. So what are the things that really make intensive intervention, such that when we see those, we know that intensive intervention is in place. With your group, you're going to generate a list of those key features, but you're also going to need to come up with a rationale for why you believe those are key. Then once you've generated your list along with a rationale, you'll be posting that on Moodle, and everyone else will post theirs so you can all see each other's lists, and then we'll have a conference call at the end of Module 6, and you'll have a chance to discuss what you came up with and to ask each other questions. And then that will lead straight into your end of year product, which will require you to get into yet another different group. For that final product, you'll actually be identifying topical areas that are of interest to you that you might like to pursue in your own research. And then you'll be selecting yourself into a group of people with that same topical interest. And your task in that group will be to answer the question, what do we know about intensive intervention in your particular topical area? So you'll work with your group to answer that question. You'll also answer what is the extent of the evidence? What is the strength of the evidence? Is it strong? Is it moderate? Is it weak? And what more do we need to know about intensive intervention in that area? What you're going to do with your group is come up with a product very much like the practice alerts that are published by the Divisions of Research and Learning Disabilities through CEC. We'll give you some examples of those. So you'll be coming up with a brief description, answering those questions about the evidence, the strength of the evidence, and what we still need to know. And then we'll be posting those on our website for various stakeholders to be able to see and access. So that's your task. We will be talking with you soon to answer any questions that you have and make sure you're clear on both Module 6 and the end of your product. But I hope you have a good time with this last module. And if you happen to be driving through Spring Valley, Wisconsin, please stop by and I'll give you a tour of Crystal Cave.